sometimes me coming across some stories, I'm saying, how is this possible? Say, Obi are renting if you the amount. Say, CEO, Oba Betsinemo as a residential property, no. Now, Baba than a commercial. Safi hosty parties or celeb seba or my birthday party, bash, pool party near there. I mean, how? This is the story of Shetua. Shetua sports just said not a what Accra, but landlord ne say one fa dina ma high some of your sports. Police for bemu, court in same bemu. Landlord ba Ababe Kata. A higher Gossips 24. Mesro. So be near subscribe button so now click the notification icon. So now follow here. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, BBA, gossips24.com, and gossips24 TV. Now feel free. So bet you your comment section. Now share video. So I'm a for so any be a share. Now my can for kebab masters and a papa dear and one kebab masters. Monko so after others no emra birthday party outdoor engagement events. Be here nam papa was here. Say ninjie aponche. And I'm be out baby between hooky bar with the amount and council. It's a high gossip 24. You of course straight to come anymore. And see, you know, me on social media so I be coming across a video from Mika Texan. Mika Texan na a share or TikTok. So say if you ne mame a bomodia a renovative fiene so if you ba be ma high. I say if you ewo osuno. Omo the fiene ma high re after COVID-19 time new year, any property no fear no, I convert fie no to a commercial property. I just say nipa na ye swimming pool near there. Na me say sanka mo no se dey be enya no kra. Nipa no as also host parties wo ho no mo ye advert to social media so e ma che say dey twa mo so kra say rent o mo ni nipa ni discuss nipa ni tua rent no. Nipa ni twini mu e kwa wi ase na so mo dey asem ni court. E ma police for bem ansa. Inipa ne 250. How is this possible? What can I say? How is this possible? So I go job fie. Say na o se ji efie no. Eche me ko hwe pictures me efie da na ikoye white. Samuel me ko ji efie na free ni panisem no. Na dey say efie na ba be black. Let me see wait a minute. Efie we enye shetua. Shetua or bofka sem je say your place. What can I say? Enye shetua so shetua ina ho no mo se hwa. Na me say ah. Efie we. And that is a sport we. Me pass almost more apart a day wo mu I say ubeti aba relax wo no see yes na so ma fa fe na ma high sesa na me see stone boy cry ko perform e o see you know a birthday party omo ye wo no mo eche black sherry su ko di ne birthday party wo ho eche elikem kumoji e ko host event bi mu e wo ho no mo ni ade after work bi eche krobo ma shatawale e be pass through echi omo ye pool parties bi wo swimming pool ni mo o any commercial purposes in there omo ye yankasa commercial purposes in there omo ye enti there me kan ankasa e ba abonten e be answer questions no.
I feel like this is a good place to start, so let's get into it. I'm Mika. I'm the daughter of the landlord that fell victim to this situation. And I do want to give you guys a part 2, but I feel like I should just give you a brief story time or whatever, just to add some clarification and maybe answer some questions I was getting in the comments. So we'll do that very quickly, and then I'll get back to you guys later with all the footage and all the stuff. All right, so boom. Back in 2020, my mom renovated this house all through the summer and fall after we were coming out of lockdown. She invested a lot of her retirement money to bring the house from that old school version that you guys saw in the first frame into something that was more modern. So I'm currently in the house right now, just to give you an example. Like the POP was done by her. She redid all the tiles in every single bedroom, redid the showers, put in water heaters, the whole works. Like it was a typical old school Ghanaian house, and she modernized it before we gave it to this tenant. Early 2021 into 2022 is when this whole debacle was starting. He told us that he wanted somewhere residential that he could host his business partners when they come into town. I guess he does a lot of business with foreigners and he didn't want to put them up in the hotel. So we understood that he was renting a house that from time to time he would accommodate, or he would let his business associates stay in. I hope that's clear. There was no indication whatsoever about this being a bar, a private club, anything that would commercialize it. We were not privy to that. If we knew that, the rent would have been way higher. I started to, well, I'll say we started to notice that he was making changes not even like 2 months into the lease. I actually had made a visit here. I think I was with one of the workers and I think like a cousin of mine, and we stopped in. We realized he had repainted the entire place without our knowledge, and he started to he had knocked down we had an outdoor gazebo. He had knocked it down and started to build some sort of structure. So that's originally where the problem started. So obviously, as landlords do, we had confronted him about the situation. Now, there's various parts of the story which I won't go into too much detail with because I'm not trying to give too much away. There were various conversations and like confrontations that we had with him with regards to all these changes being made, right? I felt like he would either beat around the bush or make it seem like he was benefiting us by adding this stuff. And I think in order for my mom to get her rent and her return on investment, we were allowing a certain amount of leeway, which I now regret. But at the same time, like he was going absolutely overboard with it. And it got to the point where his own security would not allow us to get onto the property and see what was going on. Another question, how did we find out it was a bar? Well, a few things. One, the neighbors told us about the noise complaint. Two, I had been invited to a soft opening for a local bistro bar by my friend, we'll call her Amy. Amy was like, I got a little cute spot. Let's go have some champs. Let's chill with the girls. When I tell you that I was following the address to come, and I was like down on Ring Road, and I was coming around the corner, I was like, my mom's house is in this neighborhood. Lo and behold, the bar is my mom's house.
It is all Mika. Or Chemo say, Nema made in a retirement fund. And I say, do renovate if you know. What is it? I say, if you know, if you know, renovate and one faith in my high, say, move in the bear party. But actually, I would be a film high no. Now they say, oh, one ma tenants now, what about in a film space because tenants they say, oh, or a businessman. Now, yeah, on young Crawford. What I say, Mufia broche ba the business partners bani idea into hostum with you into man sa opportunity no. Any leeway. Na no more gazebo bi kra e wo finichi. Yeah, be kan say summer hat no. No more obi e wo finichi. Omo kwa na papa na sesa no. Aye no no kasa ne star no musi okay. E bia na che say the guest omba fi ho no munti no. Nti wo de omo ne papa ne kasa ye e ma say papa ne kasa oh no kasa no ye we ni ade ne guest no nti omo afọ ma adwan call say commercial e che na amanfo be mo complain say mu fi ho no mu dede bi cause wo fi ho no mo dwi wo mu nti asa ade isi am de aye hotel na say mu de restaurant na ni ma me de o abrochi nti ono mika no e na wo Ghana ha say time odi ko hu say ade na serious pa no time na danfo bi e ka tell so mika sports bi wo su ho no na yenko nom eja 1 or 2 bi enti onu mi kan no ko no ohwe Google map ne so no say enye ma mi fie ne ekoyi mu du ho no ma na de say ne ma mi fie e na de say dia bo ho no mo se to a eja ma mi ni Ghana ma mi wa broche onu mi kan no e na wo Ghana no so nim se ne ma mi de edan na ma rent enti onko dan ne ho endi okohu ye a se to ai e na che say ya ye sunyipu wa ha ene de ya ye ba wa ha ene ya ye kodu mo ha ene dan no ye di nkundue sisi ha no mo what I say private sessions ekoso na de DJ bo chuku.
At that point I realized like it was too far gone. The pool had been put in, an outdoor kitchen had been built. Like the whole entire compound was so drastically changed. So instead of making a scene, I did like record everything. I told my mom about it. I had videos of everything. But that was at that point where we were like, okay, we're not being paid our worth. We need to like go back to the drawing board. But our biggest fear, besides any of the rent or like what he was doing, because I know some people were like, oh, we saw a restaurant and we wanted a restaurant back. None of us are restaurateurs. We're not trying to run a bar or a restaurant. Or like, no, this is a residential building. We are a family. We were trying to rent it out to other families or people who were family oriented. We didn't want to turn this into a commercialized business. I think one big factor was we were almost really desperate to get our return on investment and really just needed him to pay the rent. And what he would do sometimes, which is really embarrassing to admit, is he would like give us just a little bit of rent to like keep us at bay, and then we would be chasing and he would ignore our calls. At one point, which is really sad, at one point he had me, my sister, and my mom waiting in a parking lot outside of EcoBank to wait for him to come and pay rent. He had us waiting there for like 4 hours and he never showed up. These are all instances of the type of human being we were dealing with. Our biggest fear was that he was doing all of these changes in order to eventually take the house from us. This was a serious conversation I had with family members, with my mom and everything, that because my mom doesn't stay in Ghana, I live in Ghana, but my mom is in the States. So we were thinking that he was like kind of slithering his way into essentially making this property his, and when it was time to take the house back after the 5 years, he would have done something with maybe Ghana Lands Commission or something to claim that he had invested a certain amount in the property and the house was his. Listen, I know that sounds ridiculous, but this is Ghana. Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Mika chira. Omoni papa no. All your changes back me, no money negotiate on rent terms. So don't worry. Near the take we are saying na omo to ko park crowd EcoBank for bare 4 solid eyes. Na papa yi bie da. Papa yi nkoba no be tia rent no nti rent ye papa no de omo ka rent. Just papa no entia. Eche no mu say no. Say na papa ni si ya ade no odwetwe mu sa. Anhwa na da achi bu abeka say siko dia renovate ho no wi na no medan ne kakra ye say na nhwa no wage dan ne from same onim say Ghana de mo be ka say na possible with connections everything is possible into on there na osuro for that side na so mo lawyer mo fan no ebuo mo e ma sabe de o ma je dan no if you panic.
Anyway, the video is long enough as it is. I'm so sorry, guys. I just wanted to make sure that I touched on a few things before I send you guys or like show you guys the part 2, because there's so much more that is said through all the footage that I have, and I recorded as much as possible. I think once we had found out that he had changed this bar, immediately we were like, we need to take legal action. We were looking for a lawyer. We even ended up firing one lawyer because he was highly incompetent, and we got a new one, and God bless Nana, I absolutely love her. But she really saved us, you know, and I think it was about a 2-year uphill battle, and it was probably one of the most difficult things I think my family has had to go through with regards to just trying to keep a house and reclaim something that was ours. So yeah, I will get the part 2 stuff to you guys as soon as I can, but thank you for listening, and I really appreciate all the empathy. I'm not gonna get emotional. I really appreciate all the empathy that everyone has shown.
But you know, the big question here for me personally, you know, of course, Sabia will take residential spots and converting it to a commercial spot, you know, wrong. You understand? Sabia will prevent landlord no or say access to you know there are legalities around it. You understand? Say at the time, you know, now own to your rent, you know, it's what I find quite interesting. Say, Obi bet me spending sika for these renovations though. I didn't assign panel ain't me to your rent, you know. You understand? I didn't assign panel ain't me to your rent, you know. Was there a reason to na own person bet to your rent, you know? And now say na own to. There are 2 sides to a story. And I'm hoping say share 2 no at the almost side of the story. I don't know why obetumi renovations say hosting some of these events, some of these celebrities and what have you, or a well known, you understand? Now, on to me into your rent. You get it? That is mind boggling. So on to me into your rent, no. And I say on pese obey to your rent, no. There must be something there. I'm hoping say the other side of the story will come out. I gossips 24. If it drops, it might be some more. But wrong is wrong. Wrong, and it says so. Be a private property for residential purposes. Want to mean foul pay and convert to a commercial purpose. And everything should say it wasn't just for Sabia, senior Mika air cano. Say a funny sir. It wasn't just for Sabia or hosting my friend is business partners and what have you. Initially, it was strictly by invitation. Actually, and a call for reservations. So that becomes commercial. Even so, who putting it out says strictly by invitation, you are advertising the place. You are still advertising the place. Because if it's for your business partners, it should stay within your business, almost circle. No? But once it's on social media, once you are sharing it for people, creating awareness, shetwa. Yeah, you are telling people, say there are spaces, it's commercial. It becomes commercial. But the question here is, how can, say, obey to me, as a senior gazebo looking like the back and some art, no, obey to me a creative a swimming pool where there is no swimming pool. Obey to me as a fairy painting, from white to black. Obey to me all these renovations. Right? How is it possible? Say Sandy Pano. Own to me in rent. I am hoping say Shetwa for Eddie. And as a Shetwa for Eddie or response bar, they'll be able to address this part of the story. I got 64. Magraheb.